Right, so hello, welcome back to the channel, and what's next for Jose Mourinho? Because a few days ago, Roma made the special one, the unemployed one, after giving him his notice, and it leaves the 60-year-old in a bit of a precarious position. But very quickly, if you guys could subscribe and share the video around, it helps the channel out a lot, and we're trying to hit 350 subs as soon as possible. So, let's get back into it. I mean, Jose Mourinho, he's got to be, in my humble opinion, one of the top 5 managers of all time, surely. Because you look around at his career and he's won everything with everyone, and I know people are going to say, well, what about Tottenham? He got them to a final and for some reason got sacked 2 days before then, so I don't know what they're playing at there, but winning the Champions League with Porto, winning it as well with Inter Milan, that historic treble, everything he's won at Chelsea, Roma, winning their first European title. I mean, the guy's a genius. Even his stint at Real Madrid, he had a brilliant squad and was unlucky not to win and progress to the 2012 Champions League final. And his record at Roma, he had 138 games, won 68 of them, drew 30 of them and lost 40. It's a 49% win rate, and for someone like Jose Mourinho, it's not his best, but it's still a pretty good win rate at a decent club. But currently the club are 9th in the table, but they're only 5 points off Champions League spots, so I feel like it was a bit of a rush to sack him. And along with that as well, the Roma fans, they look like they're agreeing with me because they do not want anyone else other than Jose Mourinho. They love him, they view him as a god in Rome, and they're more upset at the board and the players than they are with Jose Mourinho. And that's understandable for a few reasons. One, he's a born winner, as I mentioned earlier. He wins absolutely everything, everywhere. 2, he won them their first European trophy. I mean, he's going to be eternally loved by that city forever. And 3, there are videos of him crying in his car afterwards when the Roma fans have come up to him after they've learnt that he's sacked. And he's so emotional because he's got a special bond with this special club. And yeah, it makes total sense why the Roma fans are annoyed at the board and why they would want him to stay there. Daniele De Rossi, club legend, is taking over as interim manager. So that, again, will get the fans a bit more involved and a bit more behind the interim manager, but it's going to be a very tough job to try and replace the fan admiration that they had for Jose Mourinho. In his time at Roma, he finished 6th twice in the league, and he currently leaves them in 9th place. And now, alongside that as well, the results haven't been great in the past few games, and the performances, they've also not really matched up. And Jose Mourinho's not known for having these wonderful performances. He suits Italian football to a T, as he's a great defensive coach who can defend a 1-0 lead, a 2-1 lead, anything like that. But apparently the performances, they're just not what the Roma board were after. He's only won 1 out of his last 6 league games in the Serie A, and he's recently gone out to bitter rivals Lazio 1-0 in the Coppa Italia quarter-final as well, which it's never good to lose a derby. He also could count himself very unlucky to not have a Europa League under his belt at Roma as well, because, as I said, the most popular video on my channel is how Roma and Jose Mourinho got completely robbed in that final, and they really did. They should have had a handball penalty. I mean, if you're watching this, you probably watched the other video, but go check it out. If not, he was very unlucky, and he could have had 2 European Cups for them, and they could have been playing Champions League football as well after that. So it's a tough one for the special one. But his time in Rome, it's going to be remembered fondly, especially after a few months. They're going to be clamouring about the time that they went and won the Europa Conference League. So the fans love him, he loves the fans, and he's going to get a lot of credit for helping out Roma and really up their European pedigree. Looking at his options, what is Jose Mourinho's best move? Well, he's already rejected last summer a massive contract from the Saudi Arabian League to make him the highest paid manager of all time. And again, they're going to come back now that he's unemployed and go to him, but the Saudi League, especially if players like Jordan Henderson are leaving, eventually stars are going to be leaving that league. I don't think it's a sustainable league, and he's just going to find himself in a situation where I feel like it tarnishes his reputation more than enhances it. So I don't think the Saudi League's in question for Jose. I hear a lot of Chelsea fans talking about, well, we'd like to get rid of Poch and bring back in Jose. Really? A third spell? It's never good when managers usually go back to their old club. It's usually not good, but Jose went and he won the league, but he left them in a precarious position, but then they eventually picked up. If I'm Jose Mourinho, I just wouldn't go back to Chelsea. I mean, he's been at Tottenham, Man United since then, and I think they're in good hands under Pochettino. They've just got a poor transfer structure, so I wouldn't want to go back if I'm Mourinho, and if I'm Chelsea, I wouldn't really want him back either. I know he's the club's greatest ever manager, but you can't go back to a club for a third time. Speaking of returning to old clubs, what about Porto? Well, Porto have only won the league once in the past 3 years, which for them is a bit of a disaster because Porto are used to dominating that league as well. I know there's Benfica and Sporting, but through the last few years, they've not been an impressive team. Now, can Jose Mourinho, who won the Champions League, let's not forget, probably his most incredible achievement in football, can he go back and try and get a European run with them? Again, probably not. So I don't think Porto's on the cards. There are 3 managerial moves that I think he is the most likely to do. Eddie Howe is under a tremendous amount of pressure at Newcastle. Obviously the injuries haven't helped, but he has January to try and rebuild. I know that they can't really bring anyone in because of financial fair play, but again, the results and the performances of Newcastle away from home have been a real problem. St James's has been okay, but not as good as last year for picking up points and really being that fortress. So he's definitely skating on thin ice at the minute. And as well as that, Jose Mourinho has connections to Newcastle in the fact that he's worked under Sir Bobby Robson when they were at Barcelona. He was his translator. He kind of brought him properly into the world of football. He had great admiration for Sir Bobby Robson. So I could see if Eddie Howe gets sacked in the next month or so, 2 months, even by the end of the year, I see them making a move for the special one, and I like the move. Newcastle need a brilliant defence and they need trophies under their belt. Who better than Jose Mourinho to sort that all out for them? It's no one else. The other option that I love for Jose Mourinho that is probably the least likely of the 3 would be the Portugal job. I think that it's a crying shame that he's not worked with Portugal and that he's not worked in national football for any country, because again, to work with Ronaldo for a second time just before he retires to try and win the Euros and World Cup with him, that's a perfect storyline. And Portugal, they've got brilliant attacking players, they've got brilliant defensive players and midfielders, they've got a brilliant overall team, but they've never had an elite manager. And now they've got Roberto Martinez there, who he wasted the Belgian golden generation, and he's going to waste the Portuguese, maybe golden generation as well. Now the one that is probably the most likely, which is the one that I do not want to happen, is him going over to the MLS, try and raise their profile again. And the MLS, it's so appealing for a manager. You've got brilliant weather over in America, and it's just a good place to sort of live. There's no pressure on him to go out and win trophies, and he can basically pick any job that he wants for any salary that he wants. It's a perfect choice for him, but I just don't want to see him go over there because in a selfish way, I want to see him at Newcastle or I want to see him at Portugal. And if anyone's earned a break in management, it's someone like Jose Mourinho, who he can either decide to stay on the sidelines for a while, enjoy his life for a bit, and just take his time picking his next move, or I loved when he was on punditry with Sky Sports. I would love to see him back doing Soccer Saturdays, any sort of thing like that. Super Sunday, Friday Night Football, anything to get Jose Mourinho on my screen talking football, breaking everything down. I think he'd be brilliant. So that's my thoughts on the whole Jose Mourinho situation. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Where should he go next? Should he just take a break? Should he go into punditry? I would love to hear from you guys as well in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share the video around, it's free. Subscribe, it's free. All of it's free. It won't cost you a penny. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, cheers.